We're talking to the Chancla Academy up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun. Woo-hoo. We have a guest.
Humans! Yay!
we
get to be around real humans.
We have Joe from the Chancla Academy.
Hi guys.
Yay!
Thanks
so
for coming. So, I have to admit that TikTok, I'm addicted to TikTok, that I'll like watch it for like hours upon hours, and I stumbled across your videos, maybe a couple of months ago, and I was like, oh, Harry Potter stuff, that's pretty cool, and I was like, oh, I'm geeking out over it. So I kept watching it, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. So tell us about the Chancla Academy. Like, what is it all about?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's nice to be part of something going on in San Antonio, so again, thank you. Yeah, just a little bit about Chancla Academy. It's something that we started back in October. It just became something that was super relatable to a lot of people in the community. And we decided that we wanted to take it a step further and decided to say, hey, let's make something that's going to unify the Hispanic and Latino community together and really give us a big push out into the community. And that's pretty much how it was born, and we've just been having a lot of fun with it, doing a lot of geeking out, as you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to get super creative and have really fun with a lot of the skits that we were doing, and so we went on and did Harry Potter and Star Wars. But yeah, overall, Chancla Academy is just about bringing everybody together, and so that's our end goal with the Chancla Academy.
Well, it's so funny, and I think it is funny to those of us who have had some of those experiences or known some of those people that are in your videos, right? And we've like known that grandma, and you're like, I know her. She's ready. She's ready. Yeah. And I liked it when you're like training your little one to use it and stuff like that.
We gotta get them trained. We gotta get them started. I remember my abuela always conducting the women in the family, like, hey, this is how you're supposed to, this is the kind of man you gotta have, this is how you could train them, this is how you get them to do this and that, and that has always stuck with me like throughout my whole life. Mm-hmm. So the chancla was one of those things. She's like, if they don't listen, mija, la chancla. And I was just like, okay, now I know what to look at. That's why I married a white woman.
Same here.
Same. Well, it's funny though, because I've grown up here in San Antonio, and I'm married to a Hispanic, and he and I create tabletop games. And so one of the games we created is about roaches, because San Antonio, right? And so you're roaches in the house, and you're trying to take over the house from the people. Well, what's one of the things in the game that they're trying to get you with? The chancla. Obviously.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta try this game.
Yes. So yeah. So we were like watching the videos, and we're like, this is just so us, and it's just so funny. Like, I could watch you hit Baby Yoda, and I love Baby Yoda. I love Grogu. Don't get me wrong, but hitting him because he's kind of naughty with the chancla, he needs it.
Because when I was looking at your videos, I was like, have you done any like stand-up comedy?
I've had a lot of friends who've told me to try it out in the past, and it's something that I've been kind of scared of doing. Because the reaction is different from when you do it on video, right?
Right.
You wait for a comment. If it's quiet, you don't have to worry about that. I think I did it one time at school, and I just got crickets, and I was just like, I can't do this. I don't know how anybody does this. And a lot of my comedy is just very spot on.
Right.
To give you an example, I'll be at Walmart, and I have an idea for a video, and I'm literally recording myself at Walmart, because I want to get that same reaction later, and my wife just hates it, and so I'm just like, I don't think I'm meant for comedy, but I can do skits and stuff.
So what kind of preparation do you have to do for these skits? I mean, you were saying you were at Walmart, but it's not like all the time where your whole life is like, oh, my whole life is a skit, and then all of a sudden I'm just videotaping myself, right?
Yeah, no, so a lot of it has to do, first of all, we want to try to be relatable and genuine as possible when I make my content. I don't want to make something just stereotypical, right?
Right.
So a lot of it just goes back to researching. I ask my grandfather questions, I'll ask my mom questions, or just talk with my sisters and talk about how we grew up and stuff. And so that's where a lot of the ideas come from. Just kind of looking back at my past and then just putting it out there and figuring out ways to make it, not too good. There's some situations where it's just like, okay, I don't think that they're ready for this, but just kind of just watering it down a little bit, but putting it out there for everybody to look at. So, but it's just talking to my family. I know if you want to make really good content, if you want to make that kind of content, I think just kind of looking to your family, your friends, real life situations is what's funny. And if you do that, I mean, you'll have like massive success with that.
So doing your videos, what was that one video that really shot you over to where you are today?
It was the Harry Potter video. It was the first one that I did, where I'm running out of the room and I'm just like freaking out, and I said Chancla, and and it missed, and the Mexican grandma was just like, no, she reversed it. It was just doing this using Spanish words as spells. That's the one that just shot me over, and I was just like, how do I follow up with it? Like, how do I follow up? Like, I never intended for this to even be anything. It was just to make fun of the fact that I couldn't pronounce the spells on Harry Potter. So I was like, I'm just gonna make my own up, and I'm just gonna say all these Spanish words, and nobody's gonna get it. It's whatever. It was just one of those videos that I just wanted to be creative with, that I just didn't even really put any.
When you did the sana, and I was like, oh no, he did not go there. I was dying.
It just came out. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm just gonna, and yeah.
You're like, I'm just gonna take all that stuff from childhood, and it's just gonna, you're gonna get it, man.
And it worked, and now people want me to create like the lore for this. Yeah. So now with 3-minute videos, I'm able to create the lore, and that's what I'm working on that right now.
So let me ask you how you feel about that, because it was kind of nice to just have like 15 seconds, 60 seconds, just these little blurbs, and now they're going to 3 minutes. Like, what do you think?
I think it's fantastic. For me, someone who grew up on Disney, well, it was a huge storyteller, and that's what I'm inspired by, right? While I like to throw all the nice fun stuff in there to make you laugh, I really want to be able to tell a story. And if it's something that people are going to be able to connect with and they can sit through 3 minutes, then I'm all for it. I've tried YouTube. YouTube has been a little difficult for me to do just because it's a different realm of video.
Oh, we know. We've been doing it for a long time.
So just seeing the growth and seeing the fact that there are people out there, it's easier to find your audience. But I love the idea of 3-minute videos, and I like right now I'm already pre-recording some of the stuff. Is it a little more difficult to do with 3 minutes because now you really have to focus on that story that you want to tell? Yes, most definitely. So it's taking me longer to do, but I think the end product of it, it's really going to change TikTok. I really do believe this is going to be the new YouTube for the most part. I don't think YouTube will die, but I think the way people consume content, they're going to consume it in this way. And YouTube sees that with shorts that they're doing now. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I really am. I can't wait to tell my stories.
So you're doing much more than just, because you have like a whole line that you do. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so starting off when everybody makes merch, right? And usually most influencers put their face on it, put their name on it. At the end of the day, for me, it's not really about myself. I really wanted to create something for the community that they could really get behind, and something that they would be proud to wear. And again, it goes back to storytelling with like Disney. I said, if I wore a shirt, if I see your shirt, I'm gonna be like, you know what, Geek Out. Yeah, no, I know what that's about. Like, I'm a part of that, right? The Chancla Academy, the original Chancla Academy logo was something that we put so much effort into. We wanted to do something cool, but something that was recognizable.
Right.
And I spent maybe a good 2 months before we finished it up, and when we got the final product out, I mean, people just fell in love with it. And that's with every shirt that we have. I know some shirts that we have, most people would be like, well, how is there a story to that? We have the, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, pinche sucia? I'm sorry. We have a, I'm sorry guys, that was Elvish.
That word is in the name of our gaming company, but I just don't say it on the.
I'm sorry guys, that's the first.
Miss Guzman didn't say it.
But no, we put a lot of the culture into the t-shirts. So we try to, whether it's terms of endearment or something that that was said at home or whatever, we put that into our shirts, and people really relate to that. And so people are loving it. It takes a lot of work to do, to be honest. So any of y'all want to start your own like merch line or whatever.
So talking about relating to something, we got to queue up a video that we got a lot of relating to. So if you can cue that up, Stuart.
Get back here, you pinche nano. Suéltame a la chingada. Stop. I know exactly what you need. All you needed was a tortilla con mantequilla. Okay, but you and I are not so different. We're both aliens, and both of our governments are coming after us.
I love that video.
So I love that video.
I need you to do some more with him, especially because he eats eggs. So you've
Yeah.
got to be doing something with the eggs and rub the egg on his head
Ooh,
or something.
huevo.
Like, I need something, dude. I need it more. I need more.
Yeah, somebody sent me a Kermit the Frog puppet, and then I had the Grogu, and I was like, oh wait, he eats frog eggs, and so I'm just
Yes!
that is definitely going to make it into some of one of the new Star Wars videos that I'm making. It's going to be 3 minutes long, but I mean, it's going to make it into that. Trust me, it's
It's going to be
I'm working on.
awesome. It's going to be
Very
awesome.
nice, very nice. So where do you see this going? Because you are doing some kind of a festival or kind of a event.
Yeah, so we wanted to try to do something that I thought would be nice for the Hispanic and Latin community to kind of just bring us all together to kind of really show our talents. There are a lot of Hispanic and Latinos out there. For me, it's seeing past the we like sweetbread, tortillas, and the chancla, right? I really want to showcase those creatives out there that are really trying to push the boundaries and try to really hope to get more Latinos out there into whether it's Hollywood or whatever it is that they want to do. Our end goal right now with Chancla Academy, not just the festival, much like Tyler Perry has a studio where he promotes African American actors, singers, and comedians. Our goal is to do the same thing with Chancla Academy and build our own studio to start promoting Hispanic and Latinos in a new way. I know it's a long time coming for that, but it's something that we're really striving to do.
Is the Latinx movement something that you've been looking at to see where that's?
So we've been looking at that right now with a lot of that's going on in the world. We've tried to really look at things in a neutral position because there's still and unfortunately there's still a divide between the word Latinx and Latino and Latina. And so what we're trying to do with our brand is we want to include everybody as much as we can. So we're still doing our research and making sure that before we say or do any of the things that we want to do, that we're educated on it and make sure that we understand what's going on before we just start saying like, hey, Latinx this or Latino that. We want to make sure that we fully understand what we're getting ourselves into.
Right.
Because we're so small right now, we're really trying to focus on getting the brand out there to more people. And then when the time comes, we'll definitely be pushing out in that sector. But right now we're just still trying to understand it, especially for myself, who doesn't really do politics. So, or any movements or anything. I'm really trying to understand. Just because I have a family and kids, I'm just so stuck into that world.
And it hasn't even been that long that you've been doing it.
No, it's only been since the launch, like official Chancla Academy launching February, and I started in October. So yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Did the pandemic have something to do with it being created?
So yes and no. So part of it was, of course, I didn't have anything else better to do, and then I kind of came something I won't really say on here, but something came along in my life that kind of just told me, hey, you know what, it's time that you really start doing something with your life, and this may be your only opportunity to do it. And I said, you know what, I'm 35, I'm still very young, and I want to really try to build a business, something for my kids to have if there's a time that my life is cut short from this place. And so I wanted to do something that not only I could be proud of, my community could be proud of, and my family could be proud of, and that they can continue that legacy, because this is something I want to continue on even after I'm gone. So
Very nice.
Do you talked about talking to your family and getting stories from your family. Do you ever watch any other Latin comedians? Like sometimes when some of your stuff, I think of George Lopez, like, when he's like with the the bread and you need a hamburger bun or you need a hot dog bun sauce, like all that.
I do. I actually watch a lot of other Latino creators. But for me, sometimes things get a little stale, right? You kind of see the same thing over and over and over. And, my goal is to always try to push the boundaries and what I can do next. What's something different that nobody's ever seen?
Well, and I think the whole geek angle is kind of different because, and this is something that we talk about on the show a lot of the times, because a lot of people of color haven't been acknowledged as being part of the geek community. Exactly. And it's not it's not necessarily as big because sometimes family is big and other things, and so sometimes those few geeks that are in those families are kind of like, oh, you know, like you're kind of odd and you kind of like hide your comics and stuff or whatever, you know. So I think it's nice to see more Latin creators that are geeks, because I don't think that you get enough recognition.
No, and that's something that I think really sparked Chancla Academy too, is that it's something I always say during my lives is we don't get enough attention. Like I think we should. You know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world that we're getting the focus on, which I'm really trying to push away from that. You know, Hispanics aren't just this one thing.
Right.
And I really want to showcase that we can do a lot more than just make you laugh, but sing, dance, do create art, change the world for the better. And I think that if we have something or someone who would like to invest in that, and like myself, and give it the right push, I think it'll really change the world. So I'm just the start of something right now. There might be somebody else who would come along and do it way better than me. But I mean, if that's the way it's got to be, then better for all.
But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, and I think just like it takes a village to raise a child, like I think it takes all of us being creators and everybody's voices being out there until there's so many voices that people can't ignore them anymore.
You can't ignore it. Yeah.
So I think that it's great. So I wanted to ask you something, because sometimes my kids are watching, and because you're a TikToker, more of them might be watching. It used to be that everybody wanted to be like the basketball star and everything. Well, now that's kind of moved, and now everybody wants to be a creator, right? A streamer, a YouTube creator, a TikTok creator. But my students seem to think that you just walk around and you're just, you know, with your wig, and it's just sitting there, and you pick it up and you just like make a video and you're done for the day. And it took you like 15 seconds and you're done. Is that really how that works?
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, should I ask him this? Because if he says yes, this backfires on me. No.
No, it's not as easy. Sometimes a 30-second video can take 2 weeks to make, just depending on the source of content, what you're trying to put out there. It is a lot of hard work because, again, you when you make content, you got to treat it like a job, right? You just don't go in and say, I know how to make hamburgers. You just don't hire somebody off the street to just come in and just run your restaurant, right? You have to have experience, and your life is your experience, right? When depending on the kind of content that you want to make. But no, man, if it was easy, I'd be pumping out content every single day.
Right?
Every single day, every day. But yeah, you really have to do your homework. You have to understand your audience, what your target is, what your goals are. It's like anything else. So if y'all are listening and you're in school, it's like when you got to do your homework and you want to graduate, you got to put in the work to get there. So,
well, I think a lot of them think there's no value in education anymore, because what education do you need to be a streamer? But I'm saying, well, education teaches you how to persevere through things, how to keep a timeline, how to manage your time, how to make big projects happen. Those are all things that somebody who's a creator needs to do. I'm not saying everybody needs to go to college, because not everybody needs to go to college, but those life skills you're learning, you may not love the homework and stuff, but as a creator, we need those skills.
And even like when you're going through and actually just shooting stuff, you have to plan out your shots.
Exactly.
Or else it's going to take even longer.
Yeah, I do storyboards and stuff. But, I mean, to go on to what you were saying, it's good to have an education, because you also have to look at it as you'll have your 15 seconds of fame and then you're dead to the world and you're like, what do I do now? Well, hey, you know what? I got that degree. I got my bachelor's degree. I can go do this. Or maybe it's something that'll lead you into, you know, filmography or something. You know, you want to go.
Well, and you've got to know how to like manage your inventory and balance your budget and know how many T-shirts to order, right? Right. So it takes
quickly. Yeah, it takes a lot of work. When I first started doing my own shop and like when we did the first 10,000, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, taxes? What's that? Like, I was like, what's all that? I just got it. Like, no, I quickly learned that. One, I mean, even though I graduated high school, I was never really good at math, but I've been forcing myself to learn all sorts of math that I didn't even think I could learn. Learning about taxes, learning about, you know, the laws, copyright, trademarks with my company, you know, all this stuff.
Because I saw you put something out that somebody was kind of trying to copy you, which is another thing that people have to be aware of, like, is looking out for your brand, because that's your brand.
Somebody was selling a T-shirt of mine at a flea market.
Wow.
Yeah. And a buddy of mine was just like, dude, what are you going to do? And it wasn't here in San Antonio. It was at a California flea market. Somebody took my logo and put it on a shirt. And Luckily enough, this guy knew a little bit about copyright and trademark, and he went and got my shirt taken down. And I was just kind of like, oh my god, this is crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I was all like, my poor brand.
But again, that takes like knowing how to read and understanding that and being able to communicate with people.
But do you get any kind of like flattery when you was like, they thought it was cool enough to like steal?
Well, like a little, right?
No, I think, to be honest with you, I wasn't so worked up about it the first time I heard it, because I was kind of like, hey, well, that's cool. I mean, somebody saw it enough that it's profitable enough for them to make some money.
Yeah.
And I said, that's great and all, but the one thing I worry about, like, you could sell my shirt, I don't care. I just worry about who's representing that brand and what it means, right? And so I want to make sure if somebody said, hey, you know what, I'll give you this much money to sell your t-shirt on my, I'm like, okay, just make sure you represent my brand properly, like any other good brand would want. But yeah, I was flattered by it though, honestly. I was kind of, that's cool. I made it.
So your t-shirts, is that something that you make yourself, or do you have another company make those for you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I use a manufacturer right now. They make a lot of my t-shirts at the moment, and then I just, luckily for the community, they kind of gathered together to help me get a screen printing machine.
Oh yeah.
And so they pitched in for that, and that's something that I do on the side. I'll make some shirts. Right now here in San Antonio, if you haven't heard of Blanquito's Mexican restaurant, you can exclusively just get my merch there right now. It's a sponsorship that I have with them. And so I just make the t-shirts myself for local stuff, and so they just go there. And right now we're trying to get our shirts into other places, but making screen printed shirts is also hard work.
Yeah. That's another thing. So earlier we were talking, because we actually talked to our guests before the show, so they're not like weirded out when we put them on the show. But we were talking about some of the things that were geeky that you grew up with, and you said you brought up Jurassic Park. So since you said that, now I've got Jurassic Park and Mexican grandmas in my head.
Could you imagine Mexican Jurassic Park? How that
That's what I'm wondering. Have you thought of other things like that you might want to like branch out into and do some of those other geeky things?
I've thought of like a Mexican Power Rangers, Mexican Jurassic Park.
You gotta watch Vato Rangers, dude. We
Yeah,
were in it. You gotta watch it.
Right now, I'm working on a whole Sith battle between Abuela and the Llorona right now. Like there's so many IPs out there that I think I could really take advantage of.
If you'd like a good La Llorona, I know one. It's me.
See, and that's good. I need more people in San Antonio.
I actually really enjoy La Llorona, and when we were doing Vato Rangers, I actually helped change some of the script because I'm an educator, and so it's important to my heart that we educate people on the story and the lore. So I changed some of her story with the creator's consent, right? Because we're friends too. And I was like, I really think that we should represent her a little bit better and add into it. And we haven't cut those scenes in yet because she kills the Rangers and she's by the water, and so she's like, so just bringing in some of that lore and like talking about some of the lore, because people don't know like what any of the lore is. Or
and so that you're bringing up the lore, like I'm actually working with some wonderful woman named Desi on TikTok right now. We're actually doing our very own version of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This is going to be a Mexican version, and we're going to be telling the story of the Cucuy, the Llorona, the Chusa, things that we grew up with. And just really trying to understand the lore and bring a story to life about these two kids who have their parents pass away. They have to go stay at their grandmother's house, and she lives in this really huge house. And so we're going to try to create this very connective story. It's going to be in 3 volumes, and we're hoping to get the first book out by September. So I think that's something that
very nice.
Yeah. That sounds really, really neat.
Yeah.
Are you going to include the donkey lady?
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. I remember going over that bridge. I was so terrified of that. Even Midget Mansion.
Yeah.
I never understood. My uncle actually used to live right in front of the aqueducts. Not too long ago. And,
we have Bethel Amador says, "Hi, how are you guys? Good.
We're good. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for checking us out. Appreciate
You'll have to let me know when you get done with that book, because I would love to share that with my kids. I am definitely trying to introduce them to more, things that are done by people of color. And we actually read a story this year about a kid who ends up becoming like a writer because of grandma's stories about the kukui, and he just couldn't stop listening to them, and he was so enthralled by them. And then he learned about libraries, and like learned about all the stories that were in the library, and like expanded it, and he wanted to write his own stories. And so
that's amazing. I used to be a huge Goosebump book reader, so I mean,
yes.
I mean, I love books, and this is kind of my way getting back into that, because I think reading is super important. And I think
Definitely.
it really helps the creative mind just really get out there, because you really have to use your imagination when you read. So it's part of why we're doing that as well.
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah.
One of the things I've been looking at is like when you're looking at the Latin culture, and we have a lot out there that we've been in a lot of movies and a lot of stuff, but we kind of get typecast in some ways to where we're in there but we're criminals.
Yeah.
Or we're in there and we're not very good people, and
Or not
you
very
don't
smart.
you don't ever see like or not very smart. You never see like, oh, here's a Latin spy.
Yeah.
I was like, why hasn't that been done?
So for me, that's kind of like, again, going back to this is why it's so important for Chancla Academy to grow, because I really want to show representation. For example, you know, a lot of the artists that I'm working with right now on our website, when they make T-shirts for us, we're promoting their business on there,
Right.
And we're trying to get them work. But yeah, no, I hate the typecast. That's kind of like when you were saying that if I watch other creators, a lot of the other creators kind of feed off of the stereotypical Hispanic, right? And not that I'm turned off of it, because a lot of that stuff is true, but it's like if we keep doing that same repetitiveness of this stereotype, that's what people are going to think of us all the time. And so going beyond that and finding creators that are really trying to like break out and do something different, I think is super crucial. I think we need to start putting our eye on those creators and see what they're doing and what they bring to our community, and see what we can do. I mean, I was super excited to see, and I forget his name all the time, Pablo Pascal, when he was the Mandalorian.
He's the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I was super excited. Like, you know, I was just like, finally something, even though his face was covered up for the most part.
Yeah.
But there's so much different culture even within your culture. So even like the Hispanics here from San Antonio are so much different than Hispanics from California, or from the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans that are in Miami, or from the Puerto Ricans and Cubans that are in New York. Like, you know, it's so different, and there's so many voices to be heard and so many creators to be heard, that it would be great to just like hear all of those stories. And it's great that you bring the San Antonio angle, because when I watch it, because I'm from here and I grew up with kids, and I, you know, it's like home, right? And so it's like funny, and it's like home, and it's like making fun of home, right?
I love this place. I think a lot of people unfortunately paint San Antonio to be like this very undereducated kind of city sometimes. It's dirty, you know, and that's kind of like what I hear on my end, you know,
Right.
San Antonio. And I'm like, no, there's so much more to that. I think the west side and the south side is like literally the last string to a lot of the Hispanic culture, like a lot of that stuff. Like I only experienced it that on that side of town.
You're like, I'm going to 36th Street. Yep. Oh Lord, no.
We're also getting a hi from Dan Alvarado. Hi.
Hi.
Dan.
I know Daniel.
You do?
Yeah. I was like, you gotta get on there, man. But yeah, no, it's I really. So speaking of different voices, even with our Chancla Academy T-shirts, we have different flags. So you can get a Honduras flag, a Puerto Rican flag, a Cuban flag on your Chancla Academy T-shirt to represent, you know, your home flag. And people get mad at me all the time too. They're like, "Why do you do that? You might be a Mexican." And I go, "I do those on purpose." And they're like, "What? Why?" I go, "Because I know that other people are going to come in from other Latin communities or Hispanic communities and say, well, we do that too." And so it starts a conversation to start letting people know, like, hey, you know what? We're not all different.
Yeah.
We don't all do the same thing. And so it just plants that seed to let them know. Because I know sometimes our Latin community can be really, oh no, I'm not from there, I'm from here. Like, don't say I'm from there. So we want to make.
It's just a little different. Just a little different.
It's
Because
just a fun,
even-
like, you might be a redneck kind of twist, you know?
Yeah. That's that. When I saw that, I was just like, I was like, well, you might be a redneck.
Yeah.
But even just looking at the food and the culture within food, just a tortilla in itself is completely different in different cultures.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Like when you look at our tortilla, or we have either flour or corn, that's a tortilla. Where you have another thing that's called a tortilla, but it's more closer resembles omelet.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what's out there and what's happening within your cultures, but it's still like this round thing, so it has similarities. So.
Yeah, no, the thing with me for food, like I always see Californians in Texas duking it out on like who has
Oh,
the
heck
best
yeah.
Mexican food. But for me, and like the one thing my grandmother always told me, she's like, food is food, and she's like, just be glad you can have it. So for me, I never like anybody's like, yeah, well, come to California. I'm like, look, dude, a taco is a taco to me. I don't really care. Like,
Well, so I have to tell an embarrassing white lady story, okay?
I'm ready.
So I have several, but I'm just going to tell this one because we were talking about food. So, you know, I've grown up in San Antonio and I've had a lot of Hispanic friends, but I don't know. I guess like every time I went to their house, they were having Mexican food, right? So I'm like dating him or whatever, and he really loves meatloaf. And I'm like, you know what meatloaf is? Like, you eat meatloaf? And he's like, yeah, I don't eat Mexican food like every day. He's like, I eat Chinese food and Indian food and Greek food and white people food. So now whenever I eat something that's for white people, like bagels or something, he's like, oh, can I try some of your white people food? Like, we've been married for 20 years and he still does it. So
Let me tell you, one time, my wife, because I love meatloaf, dude. I love meatloaf. Like that, give me some. Mashed potatoes with gravy, I'll take it. So I remember my wife made me meatloaf one time, and she's like, I know that's ground beef. You want a tortilla with that? I'm like,
oh, see, we white ladies, we don't know. We try, but we don't know.
But you know better now.
I know better now, but when it first happened, so yeah, he still reminds me every once in a while.
I'll love my wife. Oh my gosh, she makes like the best food ever. I know sometimes I pick on my wife with some of the products that we buy at home, but yeah, no, I mean, God, no, yeah.
Well, you said she's German, right?
Yeah,
Like, so he and I eat brats and sauerkraut because my mom was a military brat, so I grew up with a lot of the different stuff like that.
I didn't even know there were German descent until her grandfather told me about it, and I was just kind of like, well, that explains it a lot.
That explains a lot.
But yeah, no, the food. I love white people food too, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's just funny that because it is about educating, right? It's about, and it's nice that we have these platforms now because, okay, maybe somebody is scrolling through TikTok and they come across this and then you're funny and you're endearing and you're relatable and you're not, like, I hate to say this, but a lot of people think, you know, you're not this dirty person who's trying to take their job, who's trying to come over illegally, which is like this big thing that people are being fed right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was trying to reference. I didn't know if it was okay for me to say that. You know,
we say things kind of like, you know, I talk to my kids about the truth of the world.
Yeah,
so
right now with the dynamic of politics right now and looking at it, Hispanics as, you know, illegals crossing the border, stuff like that. You know, it's unfortunately we get a lot of push on it, and it's not fair. It's not fair. I think Hispanic and Latinos are probably the number one community right now on the planet, especially in the United States. I think we do a lot. I think we do a whole lot for our country, and you know, we serve in the military. We're cooking. We're out there, you know, in the farms picking berries and avocados and doing all this stuff. We work really, really hard, and I think it's our turn. It's our turn to have our shining spotlight.
I share your sentiment right there because I've been saying this for years. It's just like there's a point where, because we're already there, we're like one of the fastest growing ethnicities out there, and there's gonna come this point where it's gonna switch, and we're gonna be out there. We're gonna be creating the content out there. Yeah. We're gonna be showing what we are and how we do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be a wonderful thing when people get to actually experience that. Yeah. I mean, like, people come from all over the world just to come to Fiesta. Just, I don't know if they're coming this year or not because it's late.
Maybe not this year.
People all over the world come over here to Fiesta just to check it out and see what it's all about.
Yeah. I have a lot of people who come from out of the state. I lived in Florida for a little while, and people are like, oh, you're from San Antonio? Oh my God, I just love Fiesta. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's part of our culture. It's what it is. You got a little bit of San Antonio culture sprinkled in there, right? But I mean, overall, I think San Antonio really, really embodies a lot of what, you know, the Hispanic and Latino culture is about.
And it's funny that it's evolved over time to be that, because this is one of the history things that I teach to my kids. Is originally the Battle of Flowers, which was the first parade, was about the battle from San Jacinto, and then like all of that stuff, and it was like, yay, we got rid of Mexico, and then it like turned into this like Mexican party, and you're like, I like it. Let's do it.
Those are the best times to get off of school. It's like Battle of Flowers. We're like, oh, we're off on Friday now.
Chicken on a stick.
Oh my god, that chicken on a stick. Everybody like lives for that. I was like, bro, I can make you some chicken.
That's what we said.
$10.
We were like, we're gonna go to Chick-fil-A and get some of that, put it on a stick and a jalapeno on the end, and we're just gonna like have our own party.
I eat Chick-fil-A all day. every
Yes,
day.
all day.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm hoping that people will take an opportunity to check out Chancla Academy and see the content for what it is, and really embrace what we stand for. If you guys that are watching, if you take an opportunity, go to our website, link is in the bio. We have our mission statement in there. Read it, and if it's something that you can get behind, then welcome to the academy.
Check it out. So where are some of the where are your contacts? So you have TikTok, Chancla Academy.
Yes.
You have 2 Instagrams.
Yes.
Right.
So it's Chancla Academy on TikTok, and then we have Chancla Academy on Instagram, and then we have the Chancla Academy, and that's our shop page. Right now, we're gonna probably change the name in the near future. I know having too many Chancla Academies is a lot. And then we also have a second page called Chancla Academy Brand, and that TikTok page is going to be dedicated to promoting a lot of the up and coming Hispanic and Latino artists, creators on TikTok. We're also going to be showcasing our brand, and then we're going to be going around San Antonio as well and kind of showcasing a lot of the small businesses in San Antonio that are predominantly Hispanic, and trying to really put them out there. We know COVID struck a lot of people hard, so we kind of want to start rejuvenating our city back together, back to life, and really focusing on a lot of these small businesses. So
Great.
check us
That's
out there.
awesome.
That's
really
very awesome.
great. Yeah.
Very awesome. So, Joe, thanks for coming and checking,
For having me.
Yeah, that's
hanging
great.
out with us. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
I really enjoyed it. We got to do
Yeah.
something again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do.
It's a lot of fun. But thanks, guys, for checking us out. If you haven't clicked on the subscribe button, click on that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. But again, thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and that's Joe, and Stuart over there.
Geek out, SA.